Tobias Reinkemeier with pocket queens. Raising on the button to 35,000.
Probably feels a little bit closer to first when he gets dealt such a big hand on the button.
Philip out of the way, and it's back over to Scott Seiver with 10-9 offsuit.
Pretty standard defend from Scott with his chip stack.
And the flop is 4 Jack 7. Scott checks with the gut shot straight draw. 2 queens still way out in front.
Toby started this hand with 300,000 chips, the blinds being 18 and 16,000, so Toby under 20 big blinds. The blinds being 8 and 16,000. So Scott here flopped some equity with 10-9, flopped a gut shot, not going anywhere to Toby's continuation bet.
Yeah, he check calls 37,000. And the turn is a 10.
Definitely improving Scott's hand, giving him a pair of 10s to go along with his straight draw. Not a great card for Toby, but still definitely worth a second bet, especially with Toby's chip stack here. I think he's willing to bet and get all in.
158,000 in the middle. Toby's thinking about how much he wants to fire. And he settles on 65,000. Less than half the pot.
This leaves Toby with about 150,000 remaining in his stack.
Action back on Seiver. What's he thinking?
Well, he's thinking about the stacks. He's thinking about the equity he has in his hand. And he's decided that it's worth a call here for 65,000.
We'll see a river, 288,000 in the pot, and it's the ace of clubs.
And this is a card that will usually freeze the action, usually make it go check, check here.
Yeah, third club and an overcard to the 2 queens. Action on Seiver.
I'm all in.
And he moves all in.
Wow. And this is an illustration of what really separates the good players in poker from the truly great players. Scott Seiver recognizing the fact that his pair of 10s is probably not good enough to win, understanding that he can put the pressure on Toby for his tournament life. Scott having Toby out-chipped, even if he were to lose this pot, would still be alive in the tournament. And remember that Toby doesn't have that many chips. He just knows that he beats absolutely nothing here.
And he folds the winner.
Yeah, he doesn't beat very much. The only draw that Scott has that makes sense from Toby's point of view is maybe 5-6. But the flush draw got there, bunch of 2 pair hands got there, so it's really tough for Toby to call with just 2 queens. And Toby absolutely hating that spot that Scott put him in with just 1 pair and over twice his stack in the pot, but just feeling like he can't call it off.
Let's get back to the feature table. Folded over to Tobias Reinkemeier, who
Raised to 4,000.
don't adjust your sets, has Queen 5 offsuit, and has decided to make it 4,000 to go.
Yeah, I really don't understand this play. I mean, I know that Toby is the chip leader, so he's going to be opening with a little bit of a wider range than normal, but I would never include a hand like this in my opening range. It just plays terrible post-flop, and I don't understand it.
How do you like the smooth call by Richard Young with ace-queen offsuit, which has, of course, invited Scott Seiver into the pot, who has 8-6 suited in the big blind?
I think it's perfectly reasonable. He should definitely have considered at least 3-betting and probably do it from time to time, but calling is just fine.
The flop, all hearts, 9-7 deuce. Seiver checks his open-ender, and it's on to Tobias, who checks as well. Richard Young, happy to knuckle. And the turn, a 4th heart, it's the ace. Young now with the best hand. Action on Scott Seiver. And he is going to bet into the field for 6,400.
Yeah, Scott's flop check was pretty natural since he just called a raise out of position. But when both Toby and Richard check the all-heart flop, I think Scott has now assumed that neither one of them have a big heart, and he's tried to make a bet on the turn here to take it down.
Of course, he gets through Tobias, but Richards is saying not so fast. He likes his ace-queen and makes the call. And the river card is a 5th heart, the queen of hearts. These two are now playing the exact same hand.
Yeah, now that there's a flush on the board, they both are playing this flush, and any heart that either player had would make a higher flush.
And Young is bet 13,000. A quick fold from Seiver, and Richard, 2-11 in progress.
Richard decides not to allow the board to play, takes a shot with a bluff on the river, and wins the pot.
So Faraz Jaka first to act. He's got a pair of sixes, raises it up to 250,000. But the Brazilian right behind him with Queen Jack.
Well, Alex Gomez, the most successful tournament poker player in the history of Brazil.
Yes, he's going to call. Justin Smith goes out.
Well, once again, same two players playing yet another pot.
Yeah, right about.
Yep, they're pairing off here. Here's the flop.
Well, flop comes 10-7-5. Faraz still out in front with the 2 sixes. Just shuffling chips with both hands, not just one. He's checked, though. And all these young guys have one similar trait. When people are checking to them, they're usually betting. That's the case right here. Alex Gomez is going to fire out there 330,000 with just queen high.
But Faraz is not going to buy it. He is making this call.
Well, that's good poker instincts by Faraz right here. To make the call with 2 sixes, he believes he's got the best hand. Indeed he does. All right, an 8 comes off on the turn. This gives Faraz an open-end straight draw. Yet he still checks because Alex bet on the flop. Alex checks right behind him this time. So here we go to the river. These are the 2 chip leaders fighting it out. Ace of clubs on the river. No help to either player, but a scare card to both.
Yes, it is. And Faraz going to check again. Will the Brazilian fire here? He's saying, yes, I deserve this. Here's 425,000.
He's got absolutely nothing, just a queen high. But he does have a lot of heart to make this bet on the river. It's the only way he could win the pot. He's trying to win it. Give him credit for that. Let's see if it works.
A raise.
Oh, what is that?
Unbelievable. Faraz Jaka coming over the top of him with 2 sixes here. And I mean over the top for over $2.2 million.
That is a mean raise. 2,275,000 in addition.
All right, now the Brazilians feel like he's got one of those thongs tied around his throat because he is choking right now, folks. Not what you want to hear. A check raise for over $2.2 million when you just got queen high. He lays his hand down.
Yeah.
Button is on Steven Silverman, Chong and JC Tran in the blinds. Matt Glantz first to act. He lays down the 9-7 suited. Pocket threes for Daniel Alai. And raises to 12,000. Min raise. Axton mucking Queen Jack off. Couple of more folds in front of Joseph Chong, who has 2 5s in the small blind and calls the extra 9K. Tran looks at King Jack offsuit, and he'll call an extra 6. We will take this flop 3-way. And that flop is ace 8-4, all hearts, 43,000 in the middle. And Chong's going to bet out for 20,000. He doesn't even have a heart here.
This is a very surprising lead from Joe into 2 players on this type of board. He doesn't have a heart or any sort of real hand here. JC calls with the king of hearts here, and Alahi raises. This is a very strong play here. Maybe he picked up on some weakness from both Joe and JC, but Alahi himself doesn't have much of a hand, just a pair of 3s and a low heart. He was the pre-flop raiser, so maybe he's trying to continue a story that he, hit that ace maybe with a big heart, the queen of hearts potentially, since we know JC as the king of hearts.
Well, JC makes the call, and the turn is a 10 of diamonds. JC adds a Broadway draw to his flush draw, checks over to Daniel, and Daniel quickly checks back.
Yeah, this puts a little bit of a hole in Danny's story to check back on that 10 of diamonds turn.
River is a king.
So it's not the heart that JC was looking for, but it does give him a pair of kings and the best hand.
JC checking again, and this time Alai reaching for chips with 177,000 in the middle. He fires 112,000 with nothing but a pair of 3s.
At this point, JC doesn't beat much, and he does decide to let it go. Danny playing pretty unorthodox poker here.
And you saw a quick grin on the face of Daniel Alai, like he knows he got away with one there.